Hey everyone, my name is Emily Powers, and today we're going to be painting this red orange leaf. And it's going to be, I guess, like you're looking out a window or something. There's raindrops all over, so it should be pretty easy to do. It's acrylic paint that we're using, and any of the supplies that I'm using are going to be in the description. So if you want to see like the size canvas I'm using and the colors and everything, you can look down there. And there's also links in the description where you can buy some of the supplies, and a percentage of the purchase supports my channel. So you can buy some stuff through that link and you can support my channel that way. So I'll show you the drawing first, and you can kind of see I've scribbled on it quite a bit, trying to get it the way I like it. I'm using a watercolor pencil so that I can take it off if I need to, which I did several times. So if you mark out, I guess, half this way, and then do it again, that's kind of sort of where this like branch starts, and it's actually not really that curved, kind of straight. And then before you get to the half mark, well, actually kind of, and my drawing is not going to be exactly like the picture. I mean, you know, no one, it's just kind of, you know, it as long as it looks like what you're trying to make it look like, I think you've accomplished what you're trying to do. Unless you're trying to get it super, like, exactly like the picture, then you want to be a little more careful with your drawing. But, so just don't come with the branch all the way to the halfway mark. And then the, like, stem where the leaf comes will kind of come past the halfway. Okay, so, and it'll be a little lower than where you started your branch over here. And you can like mark out a few like areas. Let's see. So if you have this halfway, the leaf should come kind of where you stop this branch. That's what kind of where it should be. And then if you fourth it, make the leaves stop kind of in here. So you can kind of make some marks. And then it comes like a little bit lower than fourth, but I think I may have kind of made it a little bit higher because it kept looking long, like kind of long instead of wide and goofy. It's like kind of skinny looking, so I kind of pushed it up a little bit. But, you know, just, I don't know, it might be actually right. I don't know. But that's where I put it. And then if you do, this leaf is going to come up higher than this point where the leaf starts, but it's not going to come quite as high as this branch. So that's kind of how you can see where that is. And so really I just kind of started looking at the picture. This kind of comes up higher than where this stops, and then comes around, and then it comes around and out, and then from this point it comes out. And there's another little circular shape there. And then this has some little ridges in it, but I didn't really draw that. Didn't really see that earlier. And then another area that comes out. And then this comes, and so there's going to be like a little skinny spot here. out, down, in, around, out. So just kind of make these like ridges in in your drawing. And it's not going to come out just like mine. It's not going to come out just like the picture. But if you're happy with the leaf shape that you got, then you can start painting it. And like I said, I erased and, you know, went back. All you have to do is wet like a rag or paper towel or something, and then wipe off. The watercolor pencil comes right off. I got red paint on that rag. It's all over my hand. So like I'm bleeding or something. Okay. So then this one comes out. It's a little area here. And then this one kind of comes out. It looks like a rounded thing, and then in, out, in, around, out, in, and this is higher than this point again. So just kind of looking at these kind of shapes. You could also fast forward to the end of the painting. It may be a little bit easier to see where I did the ridges and things after I'm finished, when it's more defined leaf and all this scribbling. But you could also like put in like the main veins and kind of look at the picture to see where it's pointing. So like with this one, it's coming down and it's going to be kind of off from center at the bottom. That's kind of where it's pointing. And then like this one, it's pointing kind of maybe not quite the fourth, but kind of over here. So kind of get that line. This one, it's kind of pointing kind of down here somewhere. So just kind of like look for that, where your leaf's pointing, because if it's kind of like, if it's pointing the wrong direction, that might make it look funny. So that's one way you can kind of see the way that the vein's going, and then kind of mark where in your picture the vein hits the edge of the picture, and then you can kind of see if your leaf is pointing the right direction. If I explained that correctly, hopefully. Hopefully you understood that. So there is like another twig that comes off here in the leaf, but I'm not going to draw that. Just going to start. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch Filbert, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to use, do several coats, or at least a second coat on the background, just because it's, my paint is a thinner kind of paint. If you're using one that covers better, you could just stick with my paint's thin enough that I would have to go over it twice, but if your paint's a thicker quality, you may not need to cover quite as much as I do. So depends on your paint. If you're using like craft paint, it'll probably be even thinner than mine. So you would probably have to do even more coats than me. So it just kind of depends on your paint as to how many layers you may need to do. So I just got, this is light blue permanent and Dioxazine Purple. I just added white to the blue, titanium white, and then just a little bit of purple. I did too much there. So I'm turning it a little bit more purple than I had. And I'm putting that in where there's like these blue pockets. Maybe there's like the sky kind of peeking through trees back here. try to go fast because you don't want it to dry before you get there. And I'm going to go around my drawing, which means that I'll probably get some orange in my stuff. You could draw it after you've got the background in if that's the way you want to do it, but I thought the yellows and reds would they would show up brighter and look more the way I wanted faster if I just went around, because if I started just by putting in the background and then I did the leaf on top, I would have to add a lot of white to my yellows to make it cover like this dark green and stuff that's back here. So I thought it'd be better not to have to cover that up. But you can do it however you want. I just kind of want to save a little bit of time on the videos. I don't want to have to be sitting here as long as I may normally. You know, if I was doing it without anybody watching me, then I would probably take my time a lot longer and fiddle with it as long as I wanted to. But I just kind of want to be a little faster when I'm doing this so that the videos aren't like 3 hours for something I could do in 1 or 2. So try to be fast. Okay, so before this blue dries, I'm going to get some Sap Green. And you don't have to have Sap Green, it's just a little more dull than like phthalo green that I normally use. So you could just add like a brown or something to phthalo green, or another green that might be brighter to dull it, make it more like this color. Okay, so I added some raw umber to my Sap Green. Going around the leaf. And I'm sure your background's not going to look like mine, and it's not going to look like the picture. Mine's not going to look just like the picture. It's just going to be different. So as long as you have these colors, though, it'll look similar. So okay. Oops, I got some green off my palette there and it just kind of scooped it up, but it's okay. Okay, and I'm going to get some of this raw umber kind of by itself. Some brown in here. And you could probably go over the stem. We're not really needing no reason that we couldn't go over the stem, but just whatever you want to do. I'm kind of covered over that blue. Okay, and I'll put some dark in the blue, so it's not pure, just bright blue. And this is definitely not what we're going to finish it looking like, but you got to put something down. It'll look better the second time we go over it. Okay, and now I'm doing like even a darker green because some of that blue is I don't have as much blue lightening up my color. So probably be a little darker. Okay, then more of the brown, maybe a little bit of the purple. That'll kind of give it another little color in there. Make it really dark. And you'll be able to tell the difference if you like fast forward the video. When I have an extra layer down, you'll be able to tell when I put the next layer. You'll be able to see the difference in how much it's covering, because you can still see, like, in this dark area, you can see some areas where it's like kind of seeing through to the canvas part. So that will be more covered next time around. Okay, so now we've got the first layer of the background. While that's drying, you could just do, like, finish the background and then do the leaf. You can do it really however you want, in whatever order you like, but I'm going to work on the leaf a little bit while the background dries so that I won't have to actually stop and dry it, but you can do it however you want. And this is a 3/8 inch angle shader I'm going to use for the leaf. It's a Princeton Velvet Touch is the brand, if you want the exact one that I have, if you want to know that. So I'm going to get the Cadmium Yellow Medium and a little bit of the red, maybe just so it's not completely yellow, and put some of that in here where I see the yellows. Any yellowy type color, put this in. And if you had the veins in there, I'm gonna go over those. So you see, I would have to add white to this, because if I tried, like, let's see right here. See, it doesn't look the same, it looks more green. So, and I'm gonna go over that, that's why I didn't care to put that there. So having this just be white when we do this part is really helping get that bright yellow. But you could just use white several times over your background, and then eventually you would build up enough layers that you could go over with bright yellow and it would be light enough to do it, but it just might look a little different. There's just several different ways that you can do a painting. Just do it however you want to do it. So I'm adding a little bit more of the Cadmium Red Medium, and it's going to make it a little bit more orange. You can just kind of tap, use like the corner of this brush, put in some like interesting texture in here. And you don't want to cover up too much of your yellow, because if you cover it up too much with the red, then it'll be kind of sort of like what we had with the background. You'd have to cover over. You would get this bright yellow if you covered over too much of it. You could put it back by adding more white, but it just might not be, it'd be harder to do, harder to get that in passively, so. And this is still a pretty light color, so anywhere I see a lighter kind of color, to put this in. And you really could just probably fill the whole leaf in with this if you wanted to for the first layer. More of the yellow against this edge. And the edges will be a little funny because we went over the background, so we'll probably have to do something a little different for the edges than we would for the middle, just so that it'll show up. Alright, now I'm going to get the Cadmium Red Medium, and I'm going to go around the edges. And so see, you can see, I don't know if you can see that from far away, but it's like it's not covering the brown. So I will add some white to my red so that it will cover over that better. So this is what we would have to do with pretty much all of our colors, our yellows and everything, if we did the background first. I'll probably want to be a little more careful with my background the next time, since I would already have this in here. Okay. So you are new to my channel. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe, like the video, give it a like. I do a new video every Friday. I post a new one every Friday, so if you want to learn how to paint, or you just like watching a painting kind of, you know, come to life, then you might like to look at some of my other videos. I've done animals and a few landscapes, like beach type things, and the painting we did last week was this waterfall, kind of like looking from behind. So that's on my channel. Do you want to go look at that? On these edges, if I cover up too much of my yellow, I may have to go back. And at this point, if any, you can kind of use the paint to draw the leaf. And that, I'm just saying, that means like, you know, any areas that maybe you need to poke out farther, or now that you're getting to the painting part, you're like, you know what, that's poking out too far. You can kind of adjust it with the paint, so don't go out quite as far as you think, as you drew it, or go out farther than you drew it. And then you can kind of fill in the blank areas with your background color the next time. Just whatever you see you would like to change, that now would be a good time to do it, before you get all your details and stuff in. So it doesn't really look like a whole lot at the moment, but the next layer or two that we put down probably start looking more like what we want it to look like. And still, the background that got into the leaf isn't fully covered, but it's better than before, so. Probably what'll take a lot of time in this painting is going to be the dots, the little water droplets everywhere. That'll take quite a bit of time. I still missed a spot there, but I will get it. Most of that off. back. Okay, so the background, there's still some wet spots right in here, but I think as long as I avoid that at first, should be fine. So I'm going to use this Filbert again, and start by using this. Actually, I think I might use this more of a purpley color this time. See what happens. This white, or this blue, is so, it's got so much like white and light color in it that it'll cover pretty easily over these other background colors. You might want to be a little careful touching the leaves now, because we just put that red, so you don't want to get a bunch of red in your background, because you want the leaf to be red. That needs to be like the bright spot that we look at. Alright, so before I get too far ahead with my coloring here, I'm going to go ahead and get some this brown and put some light brown areas in here. And this had, I think this mixture over here had a little bit of purple in it. Need some water because it's like not getting off my brush and onto the canvas, so adding water will kind of help. So I'm just kind of alternating with the brown and the blue. And just kind of flicking, kind of slapping it. you can see already, it still may need another layer, but it is definitely looking better than what we had before. So just kind of keep doing these layers, getting just a little bit more at a time. And I'll get a little bit of purple to this raw umber and sap green mixture. I don't think I'm gonna put the stem in till I get the background the way I want it. Okay, now this is more of the purple and brown without much green. Right, and I'll add a little bit of white to this purpley green mixture. Maybe a little bit of red just to see it like neutralized, I guess because of the green being in there. And then just kind of put some pockets of a lighter color in here. Okay, so next step of the background's done. Probably do one more. Okay, so rinse this brush out. And back to the angle. And I just stopped the video real quick and cleaned off my palette so I have more room to get those colors off. Alright, and let's see, I think I'm going to take yellow and some red and go over this now. Now it's kind of like a bright orange when it's over this reddish color. It's like a bright orange. And if I want it back to yellow, I can add some white to it and kind of do some yellow spots in here where I want it yellow. Now that it's covering the background. Okay, some back there, back in these areas. All right, now I'm going to get the red, brighten some of these up. So may have to go over the background a few more times with the lighter color. So I'm going to get a little bit of white to this, but it's still a darker red than last time. And this is more of a pointed leaf. So I'm going to kind of take it out some. So see, I just adjusted it that quickly. So I'm gonna have to go over that spot a few times, probably, just to get it right. Try not to go over too much of my yellow. Alright, now, let's see, before I go too far, I think I want to kind of, well, I'm just going to put it in the veins, but I think if I'm using too many lighter colors, I'll probably cover over it. So I'm just going to keep going with this. And you can kind of make it pointing like out from the direction that, because these veins are going to be going, like if this was the vein, then these are going to be going this way and those are going to be going that way. So you can kind of make some lines in those directions. It look like something going on back there. Okay, so we're slowly building it up. See, like this down here, how much like brighter it is up here. It's kind of like dull, a little more dull than this brightness. So we're slowly building it up. Put some red kind of in between the yellow. So once we get those veins in, we can kind of see where we need to put color, because there's going to be some red up in here too, but I want to put it in the right spot. So I'm going to get this raw umber, a little bit of red, and some purple, maybe a little bit of green. It's like getting dark colors and mixing them together. Okay, and so there's going to be like this spot here where they all start, and then this one kind of comes down to here, but it kind of starts fading away once it gets kind of in this point. So I'm going to drag right down. It's going to start getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. Then I'm going to kind of wipe off the extra of the tip and just kind of so see, I kind of faded it as I got down here. And then there's kind of a faded one comes off from here. And then one that starts lower comes off from this to this point. And then one from here, one there. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the dark. So from this point, it's going to kind of, it's going to go to the end, but it's going to fade. So before it gets there, so I'm going to start it kind of thick, and then wipe off most of it, and kind of fade it. And this is kind of wet, so that's why it's kind of doing something funny down there. Same thing over here. And then these ones, this one comes up. Okay, this one's got like a faded one that comes off here. So all these like points of the leaf kind of tend to have a vein that comes off to them. And this one has just like a barely visible one. I might just put okay. Now I'm gonna go and do some sideways strokes to kind of blend, make it a little fuzzy, but don't have too much paint on your brush though, because it'll make it way too thick. Just barely any paint and kind of fuzz out the ends. Okay. So we got the veins in. Now I think I'll work a little bit more on the background while like these red parts and the veins dry. So one last coat should do it, I think. So back to the Filbert. Need some more blue. A little bit of purple. That was too much. My goodness, that purple tints that color quite a bit. Okay, and then some white. and wipe most of it off. So I don't want it's a little bit too purple, so I'm going to get more blue. Alright, maybe rinse some of that off with the brush. And I need some more of this brown. To hurry though, so it doesn't dry before I get it there. Alright, wipe most of it off, and I mix some with this blue so that I can get some dark spots in here without it looking funny. And then pretty dark kind of in here. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Now, some over here. Okay, so I'm going around the blue with this brown. Not really saying every time I pick up a different color, but I'm just using these same colors pretty much that I've been using. adding some green over here to the brown. A little bit of purple now out here. Okay, I'm going to lift it up just so I can see it better because the light is hitting it just right so that it's kind of hard for me to see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'll add a little bit of, a little bit of white to this. Just add some like interesting things in this darkness. Some green. Alright, so we're getting there. Now we'll work more on our leaf, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put in the stem now. So I want it as dark as I can get it. So I'm going to get the brown, purple, some of the red, and some of the green, as dark as I can. You could use black, but I'm just going to try to mix a dark color. Alright, and now starting here, go I'm going to stop it right about in here. And you can make like some little areas on the branch that look like there's something coming off of it, like a little, I don't know what you call that, but a little spot that. Alright, now get some brown and just go over that area that I missed. Okay, and there's another twig coming off here. And I'm going to get some of this light color and put a little white there, a little bit of white off that twig, and on the top of this. Right there, the end of these twigs. Alright, and now I'm going to get some of the red. I'm going to get some of this dark with it. Get some purple with that. And I'm going to do this like leaf that's kind of in front. So here. And it looks pretty dark at the bottom, so I'm going to do some darker down there. Okay. And I'm going to get that cadmium red. I'm probably off the camera now. Probably been off the camera, sorry. I'm getting that red and a little bit of white. And I'm going to do some brighter, and we can go back over and brighten that up. Since it had the white in it, we'll brighten it up. Alrighty, so now we've got this leaf to finish. So I'm going to get the yellow and just kind of put it in all these yellow spots. Oranging up some of the red and just kind of going over it, wetting the leaf kind of with that. And then I'm going to get some of this bright red and I'll put it anywhere that I see brighter. So look up against this leaf, there's some. And you don't even have to put your reds and things quite in the same spot and it should still look like a leaf. You put it a little different, it should still look pretty much like a leaf. Add some yellow to that red before we cover over it, the brighter, and that should make it more orangey. And there's a little bit in this. So don't be afraid going in this yellow part. We need some red in the yellow. Just don't put too much. Okay. We'll put some red around this like area that curves and a few lines in the yellow. Okay, and then we'll get the red and I'll add a little bit of purple to it. And then I'll make it a little darker. You can put some of that kind of in these vein areas. Areas that are darker red. Any darker red areas, I'm just kind of put a little bit of this darker. And then I'll get some purple just kind of by itself, and at the tips of some of these leaves, I'm going to give them a purple color, pretty dark. It's kind of just on those ones. Now I'll get some of the yellow and a little bit of white in any areas that are lighter. Oh, let's see, on like the edge of these. You can do a few light areas. It may not show up so much if what's behind it is kind of light too, but okay. So pretty good. I think we could probably start on our water drops, because if I fiddle too much with this, then we won't have very much time for our water drops. So I'm going to get, this is a #1 round in the Princeton Velvet Touch, the same as the angle brush that I have. And I'm going to get this like dark color that we used for the vein, I think, or this stem. And I'm going to get some more of that brown. And I added a little bit more purple too. I'm going to get quite a bit of paint. So I watered it down a little bit. And really we're just going to do like some circles. So I'm probably going to start with where I see the biggest ones. So like up in here. Over here. Oops. Too much water. You don't want to get too much water on it, or else it'll water it down way too much. And they don't have to be perfect circles. You don't even have to do this part if you don't want to. If you like it just with the leaf, you don't have to do this, but you might want to like fast forward to the end once I've done all these, and then you can kind of see the difference. You might like it. So there's one like right on this leaf. I'm just kind of doing the bigger ones first, and then I can kind of fill it in with the small ones. And you don't have to put these drops exactly like the picture. you know, it would probably be a lot faster if you just kind of put them where you want to. And you wouldn't want to do patterns, you know, like have 3 big dots all next to each other and then 3 big dots over here. Try to make it a little like random. And once it gets like in this darker area, there are some, but you're just not going to be able to see it as much because it's, you know, going to be darker, so I'm not going to get to see it as easily. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to this leaf, so I said I was going to go back with a brighter, but I think I'm just going to stick with that. Okay. And when you get to the smaller ones, try, if you can, to make the lines smaller. So try to make the bigger ones have fatter lines and the smaller one have skinnier lines. And they don't have to be perfect circles, they can kind of be a little funny. Maybe ovals or to be perfect circles. So yeah, this will probably take quite a bit of time filling in these little circles. And we're not quite done even once we put the circles in, because there's going to be something else we're going to do to them to add a little bit extra. And just make sure you don't stick your hand in one after you've got it down. Give me a few that are kind of just like dots. They're so small. And on the edge you can do some that are like just halved. They don't have to be whole on the edge. You can kind of do some that kind of go off. You probably got half of them in. Oops, too much water. I'm about to drip. probably want to try to make it to where you can't see where you started and stopped. Because if you can actually see like a tail, then it wouldn't look like a water drop. So just tons of little dots everywhere. And like I said, you don't have to do this. You don't want to. You like it before the dots, you can do that. And right now, they do look kind of just like a bunch of dots. They don't look a whole lot like water drops. But we're going to do something to that later that should make it look like water drops a little more. And don't overlap them. You can get them close to each other, just don't actually overlap them. Okay, and there's some like I don't have very many in this dark area. Alright, so I might put a few like in here. A few just dots, so they look like really small water drops. It's like an 8 in the sky. I don't want to do that. All right, so now I'll I'll say that's good for that part. Now I'm going to take some of this dark and water it down a little bit. Water it down. And on the top of some of these, mainly like the bigger ones, I'm going to do a little bit more color on the top, and you can like put some color down and wipe your brush off and kind of go over the bottom of it. Doesn't look. And do it mainly for the biggest ones. You don't have to do it to every one, but just kind of the bigger ones that are more noticeable. And make it look more like water drops when you have this extra little thing. You can do it to some of the smaller ones, you know, the medium-sized ones. Do it to some of them. So now that right there just kind of makes it look more like water when you have that extra little thing on the top. All right, so I think that's pretty much done. I'm gonna get my Faber-Castell Hit Artist pen, and we only took an hour and 20 minutes. That's not bad. I thought it was more like 2 hours, but it's not bad. Let's see, I got water drops everywhere. Put it right in here. So let me raise this so I can see what I'm doing. I'll have to go over that a few more times, darken it up. But there's our leaf, I guess, looking out of a window. I mean, the leaf's not looking out of the window, but it kind of sounds a little funny, leaf looking out of the window. But I hope you enjoy watching, and hopefully you paint it and have fun doing it. Came out pretty good for just an hour and like 20 minutes. It's pretty good. So I actually didn't show this at the beginning, but last month in September we did these pictures. We painted these. I just showed the waterfall earlier in the painting. So picture, painting, and any of these other ones, if you want to see like the bird's nest or the tiger, the horse silhouette, any of those, they're on the channel already. So you can click Emily Powers Art under the video and it should take you there. And then in October we're doing these. So next week it's going to be this path. So if you want to see any of those, you can go to my channel and check those out. And there's one right here that I'm going to do. Alright. Okay, so we hope you try it. Again, the supplies are in the description, and the links to some of the supplies are there too. And if you click a link and purchase anything through that link, then a percentage of the purchase supports my channel. So I hope you try it, and thanks for watching. Bye.